coming to you live from the third floor of Emerald Campus. We thank you for joining us at this hour for the Emerald Campus News Report. I'm your host, Uzair Ahmed. First, we'll begin with a report on how coronavirus has affected special needs student learning. Audrey Lieb and Caroline Gross have more on this issue.
So, first of all, I'd like to ask what entails your position as Student Services Coordinator for the elementary schools and for Emerald Campus?
Yep. So I'm in charge of special education for 7 of the elementaries. And then also I supervise nurses and our motor team, which is OTs, PTs, adaptive PE teachers, and the teachers of the visually impaired.
Okay.
So it's my work with the nurses that's really kept me busy in regards to the pandemic.
Okay. Do you often interact with special needs kids, like you specifically?
Yeah. Particularly in my seven buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm in our specialized learning centers are usually the classrooms I'm in most often.
Okay.
And those are kids with the most significant special needs.
Got you. And so for those kids, how would you, or for all of them in general, how would you describe their transition to hybrid learning?
Surprisingly, it's actually gone really well, particularly with the half days. It's just because I think our the programming we provide for the half days is just so intense. It's actually reduced like the number of behavioral issues we've had.
Really?
It's only there for half days, and then the programming there's not a lot of downtime. I mean, we at the elementary level, there's no lunch, there's no recess. There's no art, music, PE. So it's all academics for the time that they're there. So we've actually seen a decrease in the number of behaviors that we've seen.
Okay. So then when they go home, do they have any homework, or is that just everything just grinded out while you're here?
Yeah. So they have things to do outside of school also. But the transition's actually gone really well.
Okay, that's good to
know. Full remote was a little bit more difficult, especially if you're a student with autism. It's really hard for you to stay in, to learn over a computer. But the hybrid models actually worked really well.
Okay. So are there any issues with them? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I just had a follow-up question about that. So if we were to go back into lockdown, since it's been alluded a couple times by the governor, what would you do to help your special needs students who are learning from home?
Yeah, and what we've done a lot of times, if a student's really having a difficult time, we have a behavior analyst in the district, and a lot of time we've used them to help the families to come up with strategies to help the students learn remotely.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's individualized then to the learner?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, our behavior analysts have done a great job with working with the families to help the students focus during this online sessions.
Have you noticed, when this first started, is there any difficulty when they're wearing the mask? Have they had kind of a backlash to that?
So some of our students, so most of our students who have a mask exemption, and we don't have a lot in the district, but a lot of the students who have a mask exemption are really our kids with the most significant medical needs or the most behavioral needs. So those are the students who've applied for the mask exemptions. But even if they do have a mask exemption, our teachers have done a really nice job of still getting them to wear it and to build up that tolerance. And even over the summer, I had a lot of families who reached out to me who had asked, I have a student who I don't think is going to wear a mask. I don't think this is going to work. What do you recommend? So what I told them to do is during some of their preferred activities. So if that's when they're working on an iPad or if they're just watching TV, they just put a mask on them during that time to help to build up that tolerance. So we still have a couple of students that refuse to wear the mask, but we have face shields for some of those students. And for the most part, most of our students are wearing them for at least some of the time.
And do you think parents have done a good job with this transition as well? Worked with you and to really help their child?
Yeah. It's been great. Like I said, it's my 7th year in the district. So a lot of these families that I've worked with, like I've helped with their transition from preschool to kindergarten. So we've known each other for so long. A lot of the families who had like questions or concerns reached out to me over the summer. Like some even said, "Listen, it's just I can't." They were worried about their students catching COVID. So I mean, the number of conversations I had over the summer with families regarding whether to go hybrid or to stay with the remote learning model. I mean, it was a pretty regular conversation this summer. But what's nice is being in the district for so long and working so closely with them for 7 years. There's that trust in me with like as far as like guidance, as far as like, should you try the hybrid model? Should you try the remote learning academy? So yeah, it's been good. Like I said, I've had some really good conversations with some of our families. To answer.
Well, thank you so much. We'll definitely get back to you if we have any more questions.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this.
Hey.
Thank you, Caroline and Audrey, for that amazing report. COVID-19 has also had large financial effects on the economic outcomes of stores nationwide. With the new Black Friday season starting soon, retailers just got one more reason to worry about the upcoming holiday shopping season. What's happening? U.S. retail sales is increased by only 0.3% compared to the previous month in October, a slower pace than economists had expected and well below the 1.6% logged in September. Spending in some categories declined compared to previous month as well. Clothing stores, department stores, and sporting goods all saw a drop in sales by more than 4%. The data shows, quote, the slowest pace of growth since the sharp contractions when the pandemic first hit, end quote. Duchesne Bank Jim Reed told clients Wednesday, quote, the soft reading will add to concerns with the coronavirus cases numbers surging once again, end quote. States are issuing a new wave of mask mandates and social restrictions as record number of COVID-19 hospitalizations and soaring daily cases strain the U.S. hospital systems. The months ahead are going to look better than the weeks ahead, said former U.S. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Dr. Mark McClain on Tuesday at an event hosted by Duke University. As a widespread vaccine distribution may not start until the middle of 2021, U.S. consumers expect social restrictions to extend and to continue to lower their employment views. Personal, financial, and economic views are fading too, as the recovery is slowing, and with a divided government, more likely the expected fiscal stimulus is muted. COVID-19 has also had a great effect on the arts. This is especially evident with the drama and production crew at Dublin City Schools. Shamita Mustafa and Gabby Rowe have more on this issue.
I know what I want, and I won't stop trying. Quitting? I can't. For now I'm flying.
I met a man without a dollar to his name, who had no traits of any value but his smile.
The fall musical, but it was kind of more like a recital where we had different performers all sing or like show our own piece that they worked on. Prepared by doing bi-weekly Google Meets, and we just would work on our group number, or we'd work on just ideas and like tips, like building up to everything. And then to actually physically prepare, we'd have a few techs come in and they would just help set up all of our behind the scenes equipment and everything and get everyone else ready. We had less technical difficulties than I anticipated, and I feel like a lot less than normal shows actually go on on the PAC and everything. I was the stage manager, and I worked a lot on the sound equipment, was connecting everything, and the stage manager just writing notes for everybody and kind of just making sure everyone's up to date and like everything we're doing and just where we're at with the show and everything.
All my thoughts begin to stray, and I'm on the train that's bound for Santa Fe.
Hi, I'm Harshini Somasetti, and I'm one of Kaufman Drama Club's communications officers. Preparing for this year's fall musical was a little different than the usual preparation that goes into previous fall musicals. One of the best parts about rehearsals is getting to interact with all of the other cast members, which we were not able to do this year. But the second best part is also just singing. So this year I sang a solo, and I actually videotaped it because I wasn't able to make it to the actual fall musical. And it was really fun just being able to practice and recording and just being able to put my voice out there once again.
Thank you, Shamita and Gabby, for that amazing report. It is very interesting to see how much life has changed over the course of less than a year. Now over to Joe and Dorini with a special interview with our executive producer, Dr. Henderson Murphy.
Dr. Murphy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So could you please tell us a few things about yourself?
So I've been teaching for like 25 years, and I came to Emerald Campus from Wyandotte Elementary, where I was the librarian. But the reason they asked me to come here to Emerald Campus is because I had been a high school teacher, high school English teacher for a long time. And then while I worked on my master's and my doctorate, I taught at the university and taught comp courses and so college level courses and graduate level courses. So when they needed someone to come here to EC, they thought it would be a good fit for me.
So you're also involved in Emerald Campus in many ways. So one is the IB Diploma program, and you work with the IB Diploma students on their extended essays. So would you like to talk about how you help them with that?
Yeah, so that's my main job, I guess, within the IB program, is to work to coordinate the extended essays. So just keeping track of the process and they're moving forward, and just being there to be a support if they need help with any type of research or structurally, like how to do documentation and that kind of thing. But I'm also just basically a cheerleader, sending emails and saying, hey, what's going on and where are we at, and let's, we need to get moving, deadline's coming, those kinds of things.
Of course. You also run the library, the new library at Emerald Campus. How do you feel about that?
I love it. It was a lot of fun to be able to buy new books and put the space together, because the space was totally empty and hadn't really been used very much until I got here this summer. It is a small collection, and it's always meant to be a small collection. It will never be a fourth high school library. It is primarily going to be a collection that caters to what IB needs, and then what our academies, what their different needs are.
Okay. And why did you want to start the EC News?
Well, we got some equipment. We had a camera and green screen and this open office. And one of the things that students said when we said, what would you like to see happen in the LLC? We talked about maker spaces, and we've been doing those things, but they also said it would be great to be able to do some video production. And we don't have any way of communicating information here at Emerald Campus. I think that's something, again, lots of students say, like, we don't even know what the spaces are, what's going on in the building. So I thought it would be a great way to get out information, but also I knew there had to be students who would just be really interested in being able to, do the cameras and the editing and go through that process.
So what are your future plans with AC News? How do you want to see it grow?
I think it's just going to be a learning experience for me as well as all of the students. And I would like to see them take it in the direction that they want it to go in. So when I told them they needed to go out and do a story, I said, you could do a football game all the way to the national news. So it's going to be up to the students whether they want it to stay very insular and local, or they want it to be bigger and more national.
And how has COVID affected you as a person and as a teacher?
Well, I'm really here at Emerald Campus because of COVID. The district made the decision that the elementary school libraries wouldn't be used very much. while the students were in hybrid or if we were completely at home. And so they moved all of the librarians into different positions. So that was a huge change, and it was, it's hard to be new in a place when like only half the people are here and it's very quiet because only half of the students are here. So yeah, it's been a really big transition. But I'm really glad to be part of the IB program, and I really love being here at Emerald Campus. I'm just really looking forward to when it actually has the life that I think it could have when all the students are here.
And I hope we can return to that life soon too. What are some of your favorite books that you would suggest that students pick out from the library?
It's funny because I just made my top 5 this morning, because I have a list of 100 books that every IB student should read, and it's on my website, my LLC website. But but I was thinking, okay, but what is your like top 10? Like, what's the ones you really love? So a couple of my favorites with Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, Native Son by Richard Wright. So I think if you're not reading, I think everyone should read something from Toni Morrison. Everyone should read something from Maya Angelou. I really like Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And so if you're looking for a challenge, his books are great. That magical fantasy is very different style than what most Americans read. And that's the thing I've really pushed myself, and I want to see the students push themselves. And I think you will see if you look at the collection I've chosen, is to get away from reading purely, white American, British lit, and look beyond that.
And if you had to give the extended essay students 3 tips, what would they be?
Oh, that's hard off the top of my head. Let me think. I guess don't procrastinate.
Okay.
Because so many of them are.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of that has to do with the time period. Just, what happened in the spring, and a lot of them went into summer not knowing what to do for the seniors. So for the juniors, I would definitely say pick a subject and keep with it. Even if your question changes along the way, don't change your subject. Stick with it. And for both juniors and seniors, take advantage of the different people that you have to support you. That's really a huge part of my job, is to be here to help support IB students as they go through, and your TOK teachers and your advisors. I mean, that's really one of the things we love to do. And so you should never be like afraid or feel like you're bothering somebody, because that is the kind of thing we as teachers and as IB teachers really love to be able to help and support.
Okay. And if you had to give advice to book lovers and trying to find time to read during it's busy time for everyone, especially seniors and even juniors. So if you had to give them 3 tips for them to just make time, what would they be?
I guess it's, first of all, find something you love to read. If you really love it, you will find the time to read it. Don't feel like you have to have a huge amount of time to sit down to read. If you just sit down for 5 or 10 minutes, here and there, between classes, between all the other million things you have to do, some people think I have to have this big extended amount of time to want to read. But reading can be enjoyable in short periods. And if you really have a time issue, one of the things to do is to start reading digitally, because it's much easier to pull out your phone or a pad while you're sitting around waiting for something and be reading your book than it is to carry around a book with you, because you always have your phone anyway. So actually they've done a lot of research with that and shown that kids and teenagers who start reading digitally read more, because they can just pull it out and read it wherever they are.
So we're really glad to have you here, Dr. Murphy, and we can't wait to work with you. And if you guys need any help with your extended essay, or just getting a good book to read, you know who to go to. Thank you for watching.
Well, that's all we have for you at this hour. Thank you again for watching our first ever Emerald Campus News Show. We really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to tune in next week for the latest unbiased news from all of us here at Emerald Campus News Team. I'm your host, Uzair Ahmed, signing off, and have an amazing afternoon.